Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? As I do in all of my readings, I have pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we will jump into in just a second, but I still have the tarot deck I'll be pulling from, and the clarification deck and the advice deck that I'll be using to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. All right, Aries, let's jump on in your recent past. You have transformation with the Hierophant here. This is very much like a period of awakening, like a period of personal transformation. I don't know if there was something that led to this. It could have been maybe a painful situation, a painful relationship, or maybe it was just, I don't know, it could have happened out of the blue, but I feel like this feels like awakening to a new version of you, like leveling up in a sense. And I feel like it could have probably been a pretty difficult period. You know, transformations aren't always fun. There's a lot of uncertainty and unknown and shadow work that goes into it, but I do very much believe like this was overall a very good thing. Now, in your current energy, you have cleansing with the Fool. I feel like you are stepping into a new phase, a new beginning in your life, but it's not just like in a relationship or in a job. Like this feels like a new phase of your life. And this cleansing card, it can be both positive and negative because, you know, what sometimes when we do quote unquote level up in life, when we do go through personal transformations, we unfortunately start to realize that there are certain things, certain people, certain situations that we cannot take with us to that next level. And, you know, a lot of times as we grow and other people don't, it does force us to kind of leave some things behind. And sometimes it can feel as if our life is getting a little bit worse before it does start to get better. Now, I'm not saying your life feels like it's getting worse, but I do feel like, I mean, it could, but I do feel like what this is really saying is that you are in a period of making room for a lot of good to come into your life. And so sometimes things have to fall apart in order for better things to come together, or, you know, we have to lose certain things to make room for better things. And it's kind of like this period of reckoning, I feel like, for you, Aries. Maybe realizing that there were certain things that just don't align with your value or your worth or your soul anymore, but it's a good thing. Now, the overall theme of this reading is boundaries. So making sure that you are protecting yourself right now, that you're setting boundaries with people or even a boss, like just making sure that you are sticking up for yourself, for what you need and what it is that you ultimately deserve. Because in your immediate future, you have abundance with the Lovers. So this is, I feel like, what spirit, like what is awaiting this period, like on the other side of this. It's like you're clearing out the old to make room for the new. And this new, because with this Lovers card, you know, to me, and also something I noticed was there's 3 major arcanas here, which is kind of crazy. But with this Lovers card, I feel like this abundance, like these rewards, quote unquote, if you will, it's almost as if they align more with your worth than things that are being lost. It's almost as if maybe there were certain friendships that just weren't serving you, or like I said, jobs or whatever the case was. And certain things, like it's like it had to go, or it has to go in order to make room for things that will better serve you at the end of the day. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an easy period, okay? There can still be a lot to look forward to, but it can still be difficult to work through. But I feel like the most important thing right now, just according to this overall energy, is making sure that you are, you know, setting boundaries and protecting your peace and your worth right now. But let's dive in. That's just the overall energy. So let's dive in to the story a little bit deeper and see what you need to know about this Aries. Let's start with this past energy for Aries. Past energy for Aries, please. Oof, okay. 6 of Wands. Oh my gosh. King of Swords in reverse. There's the Ten of Swords. So something did spark this, and it was something pretty painful here. Betrayal, abandonment, or just in general, just something that, for lack of a better way of saying it, just like really sucked. Now this King of Swords in reverse is interesting because it's almost as if you were like, I hear you were tricked. You were tricked. It's like you thought someone was something that they weren't, or something was something that it ended up not being. Because the 6 of Wands, it feels like this was a situation that you were very hopeful about, and it feels like like you were tricked in a way. And then it ended up being this 10 of Swords. Now, this I feel like is probably pretty frustrating for a lot of you, because this kind of feels like this, here we go again, like I've been here before kind of energy. It's almost as if it's like you were like, I can't believe this is happening again, or this happened again. And I feel like that's what ultimately sparked the awakening. You know, I've learned that the biggest periods of growth in our life kind of take place when happen when we get tired of like the same old same, when we're basically like, I am so done with this type of outcome, or this type of relationship, or this type of job, or whatever it is, and we kind of get to a place where like, I know that I can't repeat this cycle anymore. It's kind of like you get tired of the BS, and I feel like that's what happened here. It's like like this 10 of Swords, this doesn't feel new to you. It feels like you've been here before, you'd experienced this before, and you're like, how the heck did I allow this to happen again, or how did I end up here again? And then that's what, like I said, kind of sparked this period of transformation, is you going, okay, all right, something's got to change, because I can't keep dealing with this, or I can't keep going back here, I can't keep ending up in this place. All right, what else does Aries need to know about this past energy? Okay, so I missed something about this King of Swords in reverse. Let me clarify this, because this is that energy of, like, this is what made me think, like, being tricked. So I want clarity on this King of Swords in reverse. What did I miss about this? Or what do we need to expand on here? Oh my gosh. Give me just a second, Aries. This feels very specific. Like, it feels like the card that needs to come out is very specific. Oh my gosh, yeah, because it needed to be this Lovers in reverse. Because, okay, so Lovers in reverse, Ace of Swords in reverse. The reason you didn't see it is because a part of you felt like it was all that you deserved. So that's why you were able to be tricked. Okay. Now, I'm not blaming you for what happened to you, okay, or what you went through by any means. But the biggest thing here, and I feel like it was important that this Lovers in reverse energy came out, because this abundance is in alignment with the Lovers, right? So what is being removed, or what sparked this transformation, was this energy of essentially, Aries, accepting less than what it is you truly deserve. Now, the problem here is that there's a part of you that felt that this is as good as it got. So I feel like that's why you accepted it, and that's why you were willing to kind of, it's almost like you couldn't see through it because you wanted it to be better than it was, okay? And I feel like that might be hard to hear, but it's almost like you wanted it to be something it wasn't. So it's like you ignored what it was. So you accepted less than what you deserve because you thought, this is as good as it gets, so I need to accept it, and I gotta make this work, because if this doesn't work, I'm never gonna have anything better, or I'll never have another opportunity, or something better will never come along, like whatever the case might be. And so it's almost as if that's why boundaries are so important for you right now. It's about making sure, you know, I said this a lot in my readings recently, and I talk about this a lot just on my channel in general, but I've really learned that creating the life of your dreams is really only involves 2 steps, okay? And that is getting super duper uber clear on what it is that you want and deserve, and then saying no to anything that isn't that. The first step, pretty easy, right? We kind of already know what we desire. It's not always easy, but we know what we desire. We know what we want out of life. The second step is the hardest because we have a fear of lack. We fear that we might miss out on something, or that spirit, so we need to make something work because it'll never get better than that. And what that does is that causes us to go, this is good enough, this is enough, like I'm afraid nothing better will come along. And I feel like that's the cycle that kept happening for you, Aries. It's almost like you were like, this is good enough, or this is okay, or well, this is the best that I've ever had, even though it's not necessarily what I desire. And it's like you kept accepting less than what you deserve until you ended up in this 10 of Swords. And that's where you were like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm done accepting less than what I deserve. I am going to, as I move forward, I'm going to get a little bit pickier with where I invest my energy. Now, whether or not you realize it, I feel like that's what Spirit's trying to teach you through this situation. So maybe you didn't actually get there on your own. Maybe you needed a little nudge from Spirit. But I do feel like there was a big purpose for this transformation that took place here. For this 10 of Swords that took place here, because this transformation wasn't going to happen until you got tired of the same outcome. And I feel like that's what this was. All right, past energy for Aries. Now, I'm not blaming you for what happened, okay? That doesn't take away the responsibility of how people treated you or anything less than that. In fact, a lot of times we think something is as good as it can get for us because it is as good as we've ever experienced it. And that's not your fault. Your trauma and the limitations that you've experienced in your life are not your fault. But that's why Spirit is asking you to kind of break out of those and believe that you are deserving of more than what you've accepted to this point. But again, we have to get unapologetic about that. We have to be willing to get clear on what we want, and then we have to be willing to reject anything that doesn't align with that. And that's what this period, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that's what I feel like this period is about, the cleansing and the boundaries here. All right, past energy for Aries, the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, hang on. Let me clarify this 8 of Pentacles for Aries, past energy, because I think I know what this is saying, but I want to make sure. Okay. 10 of Wands in reverse. King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. I don't know what, that was like a firework that just went off outside. Okay. There is definitely this energy of I have to make this work because if I don't, like, I won't have what I want, need, or desire. And that is so incredibly common and understandable and human of you. So there is not, I'm not sitting here saying, shame on you, Aries, you should have known better, okay? Of course, you wouldn't know what you know now if you didn't know, or if you didn't go through what you did, right? But I do feel like with this 8 of Pentacles, it's like you put so much energy into making this work or making some sort of situation happen or making a relationship or a job or whatever the case, like making it work. And I feel like there's almost this sense of obligation. It's like, I have to make this work. It has to be this. If it's not this, like, it's not going to be as good as it could be if this didn't work. And with this 10 of Wands in reverse, it's almost like to the extent that you started trying to fix maybe the problems of other people, or you started to take on more than you could carry because you were like, this has to, it's like what is a good example of that? It's like, it just kept piling on. You were like, you just kept going. You're like, I have to make this work. I have to make this work. I have to make this work. And then it just became too much. And then the 10 of Swords happened. And then the Tower, just kind of things started to fall apart. And then I feel like that's when you were like, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of trying to make things work and then things falling apart and ending up in this place. Like, I got to figure something else out. And that's why I feel like it led to some sort of awakening here where it was almost like Spirit was saying, well, the cool thing is things don't have to be this way. They can be better than what it is that you've been through and experienced. So in your current energy, Aries, let's see what we've got. Cleansing with the Fool. So this is why you're heading to a new phase in your life altogether, because this isn't just about accepting less than what you deserve in one area. This is about recognizing that you're kind of tired of the BS in all of the areas of your life. So this kind of feels like I said, maybe like pack your bags and you're like, I can't do this anymore, and you move across the country, you're like, I'm just gonna start over. Like, that's what this feels like. It feels like starting over, but doing it unlike you ever really have before. Current energy for Aries, the Fool with cleansing. Okay, we've got the 5 of Swords. Seven of Cups, 8 of Wands in reverse. Right now, we're feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe you're not so clear on what's happening. You just know that things didn't work out and you feel like they never will because they seem to never work out. I get that. This 5 of Swords can kind of be, this feeling as if you're alone, as if spirit doesn't have your back, as if you don't have that support, kind of like a you against the world mentality, very defensive. Survival mode is what it is. Oh my gosh. This is you leaving survival mode. Yeah. Yeah, no wonder. Okay. This is you. It's almost like this is you realizing. Now, whether or not you have yet, I feel like that's what this process is about, is realizing that the way that you've been living your life is not the way you have to continue to live your life. You don't have to stay stuck in places that don't treat you well or that don't align with your value or your worth. Like, you don't have to do that. And I feel like that this awakening happened because of what you had been through, and almost because you said, I can't do this again. Like, I cannot end up in this place again, so something's got to change. And it's almost as if now Spirit is showing you that not only, like, sure, you can't do it, but you don't have to. Now, leaving survival mode is hard because your brain is wired for survival. Your ego, its sole purpose is to keep you alive. So whether or not you realize it, your ego actually prefers to stay in places that are predictable and that feel the same as what you're used to, because your ego knows, yeah, this isn't great, but I know I can survive it. I know that I can, get through it. So it actually will start to, without your conscious awareness, like, start to choose people and situations that align with what you are used to. And until you get tired of experiencing the same old, that's when you start to override your ego and you start to say, okay, I got to embrace the unknown. I've got to step into a new beginning because what we've been trying to do, like, obviously isn't working. And I feel like it's almost like you're rewiring your brain for a different way of living. Like, this is deep, okay? I'm speaking to a collective, and this might be more of a personal reading. Like, I don't know if this is going to resonate with as many people, but I feel like I'm speaking to a collective that is going through, like, a really, really big, like, spiritually transformative, like, process right now. You're leaving survival mode. What does Aries need to know about their current energy? And you know what that means is you're losing all of the things that align with survival mode, and that is freaking difficult. The 9 of Wands here. This is talking about just obstacles and challenges and setbacks, and I feel like that kind of might be what you're experiencing. Every time I try to level up in my life, if you will. Like, I try to start something new or move to the next level of something, like, almost immediately I experience setbacks and challenges and things that try to pull me back to my comfort zone. And I've learned that that's kind of the whole point. We face through setbacks and challenges and things that try to hold us back. We face our limiting beliefs and our insecurities and our lack of faith in the universe. And to the extent that we're willing to work through those with the faith that we can get through them and that there is a solution or a desired outcome on the other side is the extent that we get to experience that. So if you feel like you're experiencing, because again, your life is moving to new heights. And so in order for that to happen, it's almost as if like how do I explain this? Think of it as like, and I've used this analogy before on my channel. I don't know if I've used it for Aries or not, but there's like a rubber band wall, okay? It's like a band made of like all of these rubber bands. And you need to get on the other side of this wall. And as you're just pushing through this wall and it's stretching and the resistance is there and you just keep pushing, and right before, it's like you're right there at the end, right before you can't push anymore, you make one last and it snaps and you're free. Okay? It's almost as if you're going through this like rubber band wall. You're meeting your resistance and you're meeting your shadow and you're meeting the setbacks and the obstacles and the challenges that are trying to push you back to the other side of the wall. And that is necessary. Those are necessary steps to take on the path to this abundance that's waiting for you on the other side of all of this. So don't look at the setbacks and challenges in your life right now as just proof that things will never get better, or proof that you're stuck in a survival mode or you're stuck in hell forever, okay? This is literally like the way that you overcome those is going to determine whether or not you get to experience the life that you're looking for. Now, I don't want that to scare you, because that's not like you better do the right thing or else. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, trying to improve your life and being willing to let go of things that don't align with your worth, like you're gonna get there, okay? It's just you're going to experience things that make you feel like you're not gonna get there, or make you feel like it's not worth it, or whatever the case is. And that might be kind of where you're at right now, which is why I think the boundaries is so important, because Spirit is saying don't back down. Don't back down from your boundaries. Don't back down from choosing yourself or choosing to believe in a better reality, because it's waiting for you. But you have to be willing to make it through that resistance that I feel like you're experiencing. All right, what else does Aries need to know about their current energy? The Two of Swords in reverse. Things feel very stagnant right now. And I also feel like you don't really know what to do. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't think this is a time for making decisions as much as it's a time to work through resistance. So don't worry about not having all of the answers or not knowing what to do. Now, the Two of Swords in reverse can also represent indecision. So this is, I think you can take this in one of two ways. You have this indecision of like, well, should I step into this new beginning, or like, is this dumb? Like, am I going to fail, or is this not going to work out, or whatever? Like, am I going to end up alone forever, or whatever the case is? Not that there is anything with being alone, okay? But if that's not what you want, then you're not destined for that life. But I think that if you can continue to make the decision to say, I choose to believe in a better reality for myself, and I'm not going to accept anything that doesn't align with that better reality, that's where you start to create it, right? But the indecision starts to come when you start to doubt yourself, and you start to second guess your path, or you second guess the process, or you second guess spirit. And that's natural and normal, and you shouldn't feel guilty for doing that, okay? I often talk about how faith is absolutely important, but faith does not exist without doubt. If you don't have doubt, you don't have faith, because faith is about believing despite the doubt, right? It's not something that is proven. It's not something that is tangible. It's something that you trust in and you believe in despite your reality saying the opposite, right? So if you can choose to believe that there's better for you, and that you're willing to let go of all the things that don't align with that, Spirit saying you're making room for those things. So what does Aries need to know moving forward? Abundance with the Lovers. What does Aries need to know moving forward? The Sun. Are you kidding me? Look what's on the other side of this Hierophant. Look what's on the other side of this awakening. Oh my gosh. I mean, there it is. It's like, it's almost as if you've been living, because again, we're breaking out of survival mode, right? But you have to think of it this way. You've been living your life a certain way for however long you've been alive, okay? Whether that's 30 years or whether that's 60, 70 years. Like, that's a long time. And you changing the way that you think and changing the way that you believe and changing the way that you approach your life, like that is not going to happen overnight. And it's like I said, it's going to take time. It's a process, but your commitment to that is going to do, it's almost as a spirit is saying, it is like, not only is it possible, but it's waiting for you. It is here. It exists within your energy. This immediate future energy typically for me is not like, this is exactly what's going to happen, but this is what's going to happen as long as you commit to showing up as your higher self in alignment with, as much in alignment with your higher self as you can. It's almost as if spirit is saying, this is guaranteed. The better life that you have in mind for yourself, that is guaranteed. But the process of getting there, there's going to be things that are going to make you want to give up and make you want to fail and make you want to, choose to go back to old patterns and old behaviors. And sometimes it's a little bit tempting, right? But if you choose to believe that there's more for you, which is why I think boundaries are so important right now, Spirit is saying you are absolutely going to create it. What else does Aries need to know moving forward? I like this. The King of Pentacles. It's the circumstance. It's okay. I feel like you're really worried about where your circumstances are at right now. You're like, well, I don't see a way forward, or I don't see a path, or I don't see how this could be possible. Your circumstances are temporary. Okay? Your circumstances do, at the end of the day, right now as they are, they don't really matter. Meaning that they can change overnight. They can literally change like that. So don't worry. That's why I feel like it's about not worrying about having all the answers, because I feel like what this King of Pentacles is kind of talking about are things being constructed in the 5D coming down to reality, like the materialization of the energy. So what you have to understand is that as you show up believing that there's a better life that exists for you, you put out the energy of saying, I deserve more, I desire more. And that is like, it's a 5D thing, right? It's an energetic kind of release. And as you show up with that energy, you're sending out signals. And if you continue to do that, eventually it's going to come down to the 3D. So if it doesn't happen immediately, that's usually when you start to face the setbacks and the challenges and the obstacles and the second guessing yourself and the wondering if you're good enough and the wondering if you're dumb for trying to build a better life or whatever the case is for you. Understand that there is a time delay. There's a time delay between the energy you give out and the energy that you receive, which is a good thing, because think about what if you received all of the negative things that you said, right? But that's why, showing up in faith and showing up in positivity and showing up and believing that you're worth more, it's a process, because it's something that you have to continuously start to outweigh. You have to do it enough to outweigh the negative energy that you are wired toward. Not that it's your fault, but the feelings of being unworthy and undeserving and incapable and not good enough. Like, you literally have to retrain your brain to see things in a different light and to think differently and to process differently, because that is what changes your reality. It's not something that just happens as soon as you start to think or believe you're deserving of better. It doesn't just happen right when you leave that relationship that isn't serving you, or right when you leave that job that isn't serving you. That's not when it happens. It happens as you start to think differently and believe differently and act differently, and that takes time. It takes time to change your habits and to change, what you're used to, the life that you're used to experiencing. But that's why part of the manifestation process is showing up for it before it even exists. It's almost like, think about like weightlifting or like fitness. It's, you don't go work out once or twice, even if you go do the hardest workout of your life and all of a sudden see these wonderful results. It's something that you have to show up for and that you have to consistently do. And there's going to be time periods where you're like, man, this isn't working, and you're going to want to give up and you're going to want to stop trying, but you continue to show up day in and day out for yourself and for, the results that you desire. And then eventually it happens. That's one of the things. Like, if you work out and you eat well, you're going to get the results that you desire. Just like, that's how science works. And the same kind of thing goes for, like, if you show up for the life that you deserve before it appears, you are going to create it. But it is a commitment to the process and understanding that there's so much more happening in the 5D. So I don't know why, but I feel like all of this stuff is really important for you. through this process, Aries, because that's how you break out of survival mode, is you stop living your life doing things that you think you have to, or burning yourself out in jobs and in relationships that don't serve you because you think nothing better can come along. It's getting out of survival mode is realizing you don't have to do any of that shit. You don't have to accept any of that. You can break out of that and choose to believe that there is a better world, a better reality, and a better experiences that are waiting for you to choose them before they can show up for you. All right. What does Aries need to know moving forward? It just got really dark. I don't know if you... I mean, not in this video because I have a ring light, but like outside, it just got really cloudy. The Two of Cups. There's the Wheel of Fortune, the Eight of Wands, the Strength, the Magician. I mean, the Eight of Wands is kind of what's moving towards you in this sense. And I feel like what's moving toward you is a lot of good. And this is what's really interesting, is good wants to find us, right? Good wants to find us, but sometimes we push that good away with our doubt and with our insecurity and with our limiting beliefs. So what you have to believe that what you want wants you. The love that you desire, the financial abundance that you desire, the success that you desire. These things want you. They want to come towards you. They are, in fact, they already exist. This energy of whatever you desire, it is out there, it exists. So it's not doubting whether or not it can happen, right? Which is what we've been doing, which is why we lived in survival mode and accept less than what we deserve, because we think we have to. We think nothing better is going to come along. So it's not doubting whether or not you think it can happen, because that's going to keep you from acting on making it happen. It's believing that it happens and figuring out, or believing that it can happen, believing that it exists, and figuring out what you can do to show up for it before it actually exists in the material world. It's kind of like being really delusional until you're not anymore. And I think that's, I've learned that's what's kind of funny. It's like you literally have to believe that, the love that you desire exists, because if you don't believe it exists, you're going to accept less than what you want. If you don't believe your dream job exists, you're going to settle for the job that you're in. If you don't believe you can be successful, then you're going to settle for where you're at. And we only settle because we think that it can't happen, right? So believing that it can happen is like the first freaking step, because if you don't believe it can happen, you're not going to say no to anything that isn't what you desire. Okay, Aries. Thank you so much, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive deeper into these messages and bring forth, the goal is to bring forth what you can do right now in order to move, forward in alignment with your higher self. So focusing on some tangible advice as you move forward through this process. But thank you again, Aries, and I wish you absolutely nothing but love and healing and all the wonderful things that you desire and deserve on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aries.